¿Qué lo que, Knicks fans? Welcome to episode 70 of Knicks Wilding Podcast. Uh, Recording this after the Knicks lose to the Bucks, so there's a lot going on in Knicks land, and that was a tough loss. Now we're eliminated from the in-season tournament, fellas. I gotta see how y'all feeling. Don Juan, tell the people it's really good.
What's going on, Don? Out here, still recovering from last game, man. I'm not gonna lie. I went in there on some like it's a playoff night with my cousin Elio came through. We pulled up, popped some beers, got some food. I mean, it was the way we looked at it. We were on our way to the championship, but nonetheless, it's just an in-season tournament. We got to pipe down, that dream. It would have felt good to win, obviously. We haven't won much in recent years, but it was still enjoyable for what it was. And hey, it's a long season. The season just started, man. We in November. We were talking about real championship stuff. We're talking about in season tournament. Talking about championship stuff. Come on, man. But it's first year, so it's one of those things that you just you got to go through it, man. We got a long season. We just in game what? Game 20, man.
Game 20, yes
Game
sir,
20,
yes
man.
sir.
Come on, man.
Zebo, what's really good, man? Tell the people.
Listen, man. I wish I could be rubbing the hands right now. I ain't gonna lie. I'm in a little somber mood right now. It ain't too high right now because obviously, I ain't gonna lie. I wanted to be in Vegas right now. I was telling Triple M when we was watching the game, like, yo, if we win this game, confirmed I'm going to Vegas, and especially seeing how the weather is right now in the city, that would have been love. But
Ooh.
it's I. It is what it is. Of course, the best game from Randall, and all this happened. So, it's life.
Yes, sir, fellas. Listen, let's talk about this game briefly. The Knicks lose 122 to 146. Milwaukee, came out scalding from three-point line, and it lasted the whole night. This team didn't miss. They just didn't miss. They shot 23 for 38 from three-pointer, 60% from the three-point line, fellas. Like, they can't do that again, even if they tried. Like, that was just an unbelievable performance. And again, a big game from the freak. I mean, it's the Giannis Antetokounmpo. He is a league MVP candidate every year, so it's tough to stop him. But then Dame Dollars. I mean, when those two guys are balling, it's just you just can't beat that this year. It's just gonna be tough to beat that this year when these two guys are balling like they were balling. And Dame, 28 points, 5 of 7 from three-pointer, fellas. That was just a big game from Dame. And look, I take it as I was frustrated. Yes, I wanted to go and advance in the in-season tournament or whatever the case might be. And Zebo, he was putting that battery on my back. Triple. I'm crazy. I might have just flew out there for a day and gone to the game. But I just see it as this is where the Knicks are, fellas. I mean, this is where we are as a team. If Jalen Brunson is playing the way he played and doesn't make a three-pointer the whole night, and we're just not gonna beat these teams. We're gonna spank the Wizards, we're gonna spank the Hornets. But when we play Milwaukee, when we play Boston, when we play the Nuggets, we need everything clicking. And that's just didn't happen. And that resulted in a loss. But I can't harp on it too much. I'm not like the room is on fire. Like I felt like social media was that day and the next day after that. So I just want to get your thoughts. How y'all feeling about that, bro? Don Juan.
Well, it was just rough to watch. Obviously, exciting first half, offensive game. Both teams going at it. But man, how that was just it was just us kind of falling into the Bucks trap, playing their game. Knicks at the end of the day, they defensive sounded team, and there was no defense. The defense was really rough to watch. We gave up a bunch of open threes, built the confidence of the Bucks, and then from there they just never stopped. I mean, I felt like every shot they put up, whether it was open, whether it was covered, it was just going in. I mean, Malik Beasley, who was terrible with the Lakers last season, terrible. The guy couldn't even get on the court at one point. The man hit 6 threes, hitting step back threes. I mean, the guy was on fire. He was dancing on us. And it was just like that, man. I really don't remember much besides Julius Randle cooking and then the Bucks just raining threes. That's pretty much how the night was. And we gotta live with it. I think at one point we just pulled the plug just because at the end of the day it was just one game tournament type of thing. It's not something that we're gonna look at the end of the season like, oh well, we lost that in season tournament. So, granted, in the moment I was heated, like damn, but I mean, probably by the fourth quarter, I was just like, yeah, we got the Celtics, we got a whole season ahead of us. It's only a quarter of the season. Like this is what the NBA wanted to do. So, I mean, I'm gonna live with it. I'm not gonna stress it. Obviously, in the moment, I was heated, but because I didn't expect to be blown out by 20. And honestly, the Bucks, you thought that they still figuring some things out. They've been winning some games, but they also had some bad games, man. So it looks like the Bucks are a contender. I'll tell you that. That's what I saw from that game.
For sure, for sure. And Malik Beasley, he just played against Indiana right now. He just didn't do any of that. It's just crazy. They were just not making the same amount of threes as they were making against us, and they lost that game against the
For real, bro.
Pacers. So it is a make or miss league. It's
Mhm.
cliche and it's easy, but it really is a make or miss league, and they were just hitting everything. Zebo, how you felt about that game?
Nah, same as y'all. I mean, this is just a game we got to throw. We just got to throw out. I mean, they literally had the best shooting. They had one of the best shooting games in NBA history. And at the volume that they shooting threes in, is there was just no way we was gonna lose. And so we were gonna go ahead and win that game. So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you can't get too high, too low. I mean, if you want to take one positive, the fact that y'all didn't mention this is surprising, but the fact that we actually saw a great Julius game and a big, in a big pivotal moment, I think that's definitely one positive that we all got to take out from this. But it's obviously a bit disappointing. I mean, I wanted this, like I mean, like I said at the beginning of the show, I was telling Triple M I was ready. I was ready to get the flight going to Vegas, so that's where I wanted to be. But um, it's like I said, it's like Don Juan said, like Milwaukee is it's one of those teams where I said that we definitely want to be, we want to be at that level competing for a championship. And you see that they just ready. And I mean, I don't know, man. They just couldn't miss. I mean, we were just watching it at the bar ourselves, and we was like, it's like, man, the rain and three, just making threes everywhere. But you definitely wanted to see a bit of better effort from our guards. I mean, specifically Jalen. I will put this a little bit on Jalen Brunson, just because at this point we do have expectations for him to play in an All NBA level, and so for him to go 0 from 5 from three, even with him scoring over 20 points, that's just not going to do it at this point. Like when you go out there, we expect you to play at an All NBA level, and that wasn't it. And especially against this team, like we just have no room for errors, like I said.
Mhm.
Teams like Denver, Boston, and Milwaukee, they can afford to have, they can afford for one of their players to be off and still win. But for us, everything has to be executed. Everything has to be executed perfectly. Our best players have to be on they have to be on their best day. And so that just didn't happen. We just had one. So it is what it is. Just got to keep moving forward.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Like I was gonna leave you with Julius. I wasn't gonna take your boy Sean.
Come on
You cooked
now.
your boy a few
Not
games
for
ago,
nine.
and he's been on a heater ever since you cooked him. Ever since you had your
Yeah.
doubts, like man, I don't know, you cooked him. So don't give him too much praise. You got to cook him later because it resulted in a loss. So we could keep
That's
on that
that's
heat.
true.
Yeah, you gotta keep him
That's
on
true.
edge.
And I will say this too, and y'all can't even front either. Like we saw the effort. The one thing again, if y'all want to criticize his effort, I'm all for it. Like I'm not gonna say nothing. But he definitely gave effort out there. I mean Giannis did get his buckets, but I feel like he gave he gave Giannis the business on D. Like he made life a little tough for him in that first half. And then obviously when things started when things just started to when we just started to get down to way too many points, I mean, obviously, he just, he went to another level. But I feel like that first half, he definitely went on his, he stood right there with the finals, with the former finals MVP. So,
Yeah,
gotta
I
give him
agree.
that.
I mean, if you we there's a few things. I mean, from defensive standpoints that there was a couple miscues, but I can't go at him when he was the only one that clearly showed effort, that clearly wanted to win this game, and realistically, man, he did a lot of things that so many people criticize him, like
Hmm.
attack the paint, play with your back to the basket. I felt like I saw him address all those, criticism or questions that people always had about him,
He
and
only
he did
shot
it
two. He only shot.
effortlessly.
That's a
Bro,
fact. And
9 for 9 to start that first half. I mean, that just goes to show, like, maybe that goes to show you that he's listening, but also, look, I've been working at it. I'm gonna show
hmm
you, and I'm also getting better as the season progresses. So, we
and
just
that
gotta
was
let me
against
figure
Giannis
it
and
out.
Bobby Portis too.
And that
Like
was
that wasn't.
that's a good competition.
Yeah.
Hey man, we need that Randall. We need that Randall to show out for the rest of the year. So he's on a heater right now, so I don't want to praise him or do too much before he gets cold again. But fellas, the Brooklyn Nets, they were in our bracket, they didn't advance in the in-season tournament, and they played the Hawks on Wednesday, and then tomorrow they play the Wizards. So the Knicks, who did win the in-season tournament, their reward was to play Milwaukee, and since they lost now, they got to go to Boston. Me and Don Juan lost a ticket, a home game. So the Knicks now play 42 road games and 40 home games. And we play the Boston Celtics 5 times and the Milwaukee Bucks 5 times. It's like 15% of our season is being played against the top two teams in the East. So the in-season tournament was exciting, but I want to get your thoughts on just the imbalance of it per se, as far as concerning the Knicks specifically.
Mm.
Zebo.
Yeah, bro. I mean, number one, that's just crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, overall, I love the concept of the in-season tournament. I mean, I think we're all gonna be in agreement. The fact that we do get to play teams like Milwaukee and Boston kind of early to see where we at mid-season, especially during the 20 game mark, you definitely want to see an improvement from your team. So to see that against, against the teams that we do expect to see them, moving forward in the playoffs. That's definitely, I think that's definitely a positive. And so, the more times we do play them, the more we'll get to know exactly what they, how they work. So in that case, I do really like it. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely has to be some tweaks as far as like what teams actually advance, the point differential. I mean, we saw a few times with a few teams where they even up like 30, 40, they still, they were still just putting it on teams for absolutely no reason. So I think the little point differential that they do have for who goes, who stays, they probably change that. That they also have to change too. I mean, the fact that we do gotta face Boston, I mean, I mentioned it before we started the show, bro, but it really feels like we played Boston like 10 times already. And so, which again, I love the competition, but man, come on, like, I don't really love that for us. So they definitely got to make some changes. So overall, I like the concept. There's obviously, I think moving forward, every single year, they'll make different tweaks here and there to make it better.
Yeah, I just don't know what tweaks they make because a lot of people are saying, and I want to get your thoughts on this. How y'all feel? Like this should guarantee a playoff spot, and I just don't know because it's like 4 or 5 games, and now you're gonna guarantee a
Yeah.
playoff spot. But there's just an imbalance for sure. Like especially like we just said with the Knicks. I actually wish we would have beat the Hornets by like 10, and just stay back and played. Because at the end of the day, I think we know the Knicks are a good team and they're gonna make the playoffs. But if you got to play Boston 5 times and Milwaukee 5 times, the competition is good. But sometimes, like on Tuesday, you get blown out because that team is just better than you, and
Yeah.
we don't want that because a team like Brooklyn, who we're better in, it might come down to a game or two. I'm just saying Brooklyn in general. But it might be Cleveland. I don't know. I think Cleveland played, or they played the Magic. That was a solid game, but you know where I'm getting at. Who knows who they play tomorrow? Um,
Yeah, nah, some of the imbalances on the schedule is just not good. Like it just starts making no sense. Like
so I don't know what they'll do. I was a fan of the in season tournament until I saw the Knicks schedule, and now I hate it. Bring it back.
Yeah.
Take it off.
They
Take it off.
they forgot to mention the rest of the schedule and how it would play out if we would have
Yeah,
lost, right?
bro. I
But
lost a home game on my season ticket. Like I don't
yeah,
want a refund. I
that
wanted to
was
go to the
weird.
game. I
That
wanted
was
to.
weird.
I wanted. So I just don't know. What's the next step for the in season tournament? But Don Juan, how was it for you in general?
For me, so the thing is that we just never know how it unfolds. So, like you mentioned, the Nets are facing the Wizards and the Hawks, which that you mentioned is really on who's on your side of the pool, really. So it just turns out that the Knicks had a pretty tough pool. I mean, we also had the Heat in our pool, so it was like if they would advance and lose, and we lose, it's like we end up facing them. So no matter what, we would have had a tough matchup regardless. I just think that these are just one of the kinks that we got to deal with with in this in season tournament being the first year. Wasn't gonna be perfect. So not that I was expecting this, it definitely caught me by surprise. And obviously, we would like as many easy games as possible too, because that's at the end of the day, those we got robbed of some easy games. That's the reality of it. But at the same time, we got to see this team. You got to see these games as a test. We can't run away from the competition either. We have played these teams multiple times already. Because even the Bucks, that's our second time playing the Bucks. The Celtics, we played them. This is our third time playing them. I think we played them twice in preseason. So like Zebo said, it feels like we played them 10 times, and I get it. But at the end of the day, we need to find a way and strategize around these teams. I understand these are the top of the top, but they're unavoidable if we plan to advance in the playoffs, whether it's first, second round, uh, in Eastern Conference Finals. These are the teams that we're probably gonna end up facing anyways. So it is nice to build that familiarity. I mean, and I can say that both sides. I mean, they gonna figure out how we play too. But realistically, for us, that we need to find the way to beat them, and not only that, find the holes on our team that we need to address, whether it's at the trade deadline eventually, which we definitely gonna talk about it eventually, whether it's down the road. But there's a lot of things that the Knicks need to work on. I understand the team that we got now, but this team definitely could use some improvement, whether it's through the trade or just with our team mentally. I think that off of that first game when we faced the Celtics, I thought, we lost by a few points and we missed man free throws. Like we could beat these guys. It built some confidence, and then when we faced the Bucks, it built some confidence then too. But then second time when we played the Celtics, second time we played the Bucks, it's like, oh man, I see what we missed and I see this and that. But I think the third time, like they say, third time's a charm, and third time we about to play the Celtics, and I think we have a fair shot. Granted, I mean KP is questionable. I'm pretty. I have a feeling that if KP don't play, well, it sounds like he's gonna play. He's
He's gonna
ramping it
play.
up. I
He
mean,
said he's gonna.
everybody wakes up and suits up for the Knicks.
Yeah, he's
But
gonna.
prior to that, I'm like, if KP ain't playing, I think we could beat them and in dominant fashion because they play a little weird. I feel like KP just he's a cheat code for the Celtics right now, and
Yeah.
and with that cheat code, we played them pretty well, man. And like I said, like I was saying before, man, I don't mind that I'm not so down on it just because in the grand scheme of things, it's just one or two games. Maybe later on in the season, towards the end, it's like, oh damn, but you know the seeding and whatnot, we missed one game, two games. Well, that's why we got to keep winning these games against these bums and make sure we don't let that decide our fate. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot more whacker teams than us, and we just need to keep our foot on their necks, just like we've been doing already. We haven't lost against none of these teams on the 500. As long as we keep doing that, it shouldn't matter whether how many times we. I mean, all right, we faced the
I was
Celtics and
gonna
Bucks
say.
like
I was gonna say.
50 times. I get it. But it's one more game on the schedule that we face them, and I think that sometimes we need that competition to even grow the confidence on our players, man. We really need it, man. We got a lot of young guys that need some development and need some confidence builders, especially for one guy that's starting in the lineup right now called Quentin Grimes. They need some confidence on his side, man. We need you,
Yeah, let's
man. We
talk.
need
Let's
you.
talk. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Is it time to sit Grimes down, man? Quentin
Mm.
Grimes was
Sheesh.
openly frustrated uh, after the last game. He this is a quote from Quentin Grimes. He said it's tough to find a rhythm when he rarely touches the ball. He stands in the corner and gets subbed out after missing one shot. So Quentin
Mm.
Grimes showing some frustration. Oh, sorry. He's showing some frustration here. And this is not the first guy used. So we saw that with Obi, we saw that with Cam, we saw that with Quickly, even Kemba to an extent. Like so, it's like
Yeah,
Tibbs'
yeah.
offense. It's really focused on that ISO, and if you're not really touching that rock, you get a little frustrated. So, fellas, I'm kicking it to you, Don Juan, to start us off. Is it time to sit Grimes down?
So I've been kind of hinting at least a change up in the lineup. I felt like after, I mean, Grimes had some good games this year, but after he got hurt, like the lineup, the starting lineup with Dante just felt a little more fluid. Where sometimes with Quentin Grimes, it'd be a little clunky where some he depends on the stars too much. Like I feel like he's looking to see what Randall or Brunson's gonna do. Where Dante, he's kind of already he already knows what to do, whether he's gonna cut, whether he's gonna shoot the three. Like there's no second guessing, and there's always like this thing with Curran Grimes. I don't know if it's like the confidence. He's just always he just plays nervous, man. I don't know if you guys agree with me, man, but he's always first of all he's always playing on 1,000. It's like
Nah, I
slow
agree.
down, man. Why are you playing so fast? And is for me, I'm starting to believe that maybe it's just like nervous. Like I gotta give it to Randall. I gotta give it to Brunson. I gotta give it to this guy. I gotta play perfect. And entering year three, we're being like the one guy that everybody got the highest expectations. I mean, prior to the season, we all pretty much said Grimes was one of those guys. I know we all said different players, but we all agreed on the fact that Grimes is that guy that we feel like is gonna take that leap, especially from what we saw last year. We saw flashes all over the place, and then plus the All Star game where he showed like, oh man, he really looked like he could be that guy that could make that leap and be like our fourth player on a team that we could rely on. Plus that 3 and D type of guy. And this year, man, I know we've seen flashes of it, but and he's going to be real important to this team to take it to the next level. But right now, especially a quarter into the season after 20 games, I do think that maybe we could do a little change and just see how it goes. I mean, he's not permanent. He's also not a starter. And granted, it could affect his confidence, but his confidence already shot right now. I mean, the guy's made like in the last 5 games, I think he's made like 12 points and shooting terribly. And
Yeah,
and
I mean
and
his confidence is definitely shot right now.
and I know Triple M you mentioned last episode where you know they're not really setting plays for him, and I get that, and which was part of the frustration that he said after this last game was, how could you shoot one, how could you play when you shoot one shot and you're getting taken out the game, but man, he's getting touches. He's just not even shooting. He's not playing aggressive. He's playing too passive. I mean, the guy's not even shooting free throws for crying out loud. And that's when you shooting free throws when you see that okay, the guy's aggressive. He's taking it to the paint with confidence and all that, but he's not even doing that. And the guy could put the ball on the floor. It's not like he can't do it, but he's just not doing it. So our team needs a little bit of a little, jolt in the offense, especially that first unit where the second unit we have like IQ. IQ already gives us a spark. We got RJ that plays a lot with the second unit. Josh Hart, another guy that's energetic. But maybe Quinn Grimes, maybe he's better off with a second unit, like with a team or players like that where they're more like pass friendly. They're passing the ball, making sure everybody touches the ball instead of that second unit. Instead of the starters where the starters you already know who's gonna get the ball. Everybody knows their role. Everybody knows what they're doing. Randall's gonna pound the ball. Brunson's gonna pound the ball. RJ's gonna pound the ball as well. Obviously, the best way for us to play is passing and team friendly game, but that's still how they play their best. Quinn Grimes just can't find his footing with that unit. So I think it's time for a change. I think a quarter after 20 games, I think is the perfect time to make that type of decision, especially when we've been playing some formidable competition. It's not like we're playing a bunch of bums. We're playing a bunch of good teams that at the end of the day we might end up facing in the playoffs. So it's early enough that we could get Grimes to bounce back and maybe even put him back in the second in the first unit eventually. But right now,
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm a little worried with the way it's going.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, 20 games is when we made that decision last year to insert Fournier, to take out Fournier out the starting lineup and put Grimes, and that kind of catapult the season for us and really changed our fortune. But as far as sitting Grimes, I'm more of a like a 60-40 on that, on the blame game, because as you mentioned, Don Juan, last episode, I said like we're just not running plays for him, and he does have reasoning for saying like, listen, like if I take one shot, he only took one shot in that Milwaukee game, and then they
Yeah.
sat him down. So when Julius got it going, like he's got it going, and he's dominating the ball, and then Brunson, he's trying to find his footing, and we know RJ, he's not passing the ball, so he gotta find his shot. I think it's hard for a player like Quentin Grimes. Even Mitch complained too. about not getting the ball. He's like, yo, throw me a lob sometimes. Like I'm playing all this defense, throw me a lob. But as far as Grimes, I mean, it's like when you do have the rock, what are you doing with the rock? Like you're not doing nothing with the rock. So you can't complain about not getting the rock when you're in an NBA game. You're definitely getting the rock at some point of the game. You're getting touches, and you're just not doing anything with it. So I'm not ready to make a change yet because the Knicks at the end of the day we're still winning. We're still winning, and I don't feel like the NBA, especially Tiz. We know Tiz been around a while. When he makes a change, he's not moving. It got to be some crazy stuff to happen for him to flip flop. The Alfred Payne situation was crazy. It took till game 3 in the playoff. He just started paying the whole season, and it took him to game 3 in the playoffs to make that move. So
Wow.
Tibbs is not really a person that's gonna be like, I'm gonna just see how this goes, and then I'll change it back. Nah, he's like, he making that change. That's the change that's gonna be until another situation happens. So I'm not ready to make that decision yet because listen, the Knicks Grimes is just like perfect with Julius and JB as far as and RJ as far as just like not needing the ball. I feel like quickly he's gonna want the ball. Like he needs the ball in his hand as well. And DiVincenzo, he's playing well with them as well. But I want to see a little bit more. I like the bench, fellas. I like the bench. I like when the bench comes in. It's just a different dynamic, different pace. You know, you got quickly pushing the ball. You got DiVincenzo out there in the wing. He's letting it fly. You got Hartenstein playing amazing. So I really like that bench mob and Josh Hart, obviously. So I really wouldn't want to make that change just yet. I think Grimes, we seen that he'll find his footing. He'll find his footing. And I'm just not ready to make that change now. But granted, Grimes, you have to play better. I mean, you just can't give me donuts every game. I mean, the FanDuel odds on Quinn Grimes hitting 3-3 is plus 500 lately.
Yeah,
Like
wow.
this is easy for my boy 3 threes and it's plus 500. You making me lose money, Grimes, because I can't see that plus 500 and not take it. So start making your shots, my boy, please. Zebo, how
Oh
you feeling
man.
about this situation?
I mean, for me, first and foremost, I mean, if Grimes really wants more minutes, you know what else? You know what also helps? Don't let guys like Michael Beasley, AJ Green. I thought AJ Green was playing basketball. Now I thought he was a football player, but I guess he's a basketball player now. Don't let guys like AJ Green. Don't let a guy like the rookie, what's his name, Beauchamp. Don't let guys like Beauchamp and
AJ,
guys like that.
who's that? I never even
AJ
heard of
Green,
that
bro. I
man. He
never
had
even.
9 points in the first quarter.
We had to Google him. We literally had to Google him while we was watching the game. We didn't even know who that was. But yeah, I mean, if you want minutes on the floor, stop guys like that from shooting crazy from three. I mean, I'm just saying. But for me, I mean, as far as sitting Grimes down, I guess for me it depends on what the change would be. If you're talking about putting them in the doghouse like Fournier, nah, obviously not. If you're talking about just sitting him on the bench, if you're talking about just not giving him minutes, I'm not for that. If you're talking about replacing the minutes he has, replacing it with like Dante DiVinci, giving more minutes to Dante, giving more minutes to Josh Hart, and he'll probably be the third man, then yeah, I mean, I'm for it. I mean, I'll be honest, guys, I don't really have that much sympathy for it because I mean, when he's in the game, I mean, you have to think about it too. Like we're winning these games when he's struggling. So I mean, it gets to the point that it's like, I mean, if you're not bringing me anything, and it's like y'all said, it looks like, I mean, Don Juan, you're right. It looks like he just lost confidence because every time he has the ball, he either wants to pump fake it, and he's not even again, he's not driving the ball to the basket. He's not putting the ball on the floor. And you got to remember too. I think this was a week ago too. Josh Hart literally had the same concerns where he wasn't getting the ball. And what did he do? He started putting the ball. He started dribbling. He started driving more. He was like, you know what? Let me go ahead because it's like you said, Triple M. Guys like RJ, guys like Julius, once they have it, and again, and guys like Jalen, because we rely on that ISO ball. Once they have the ball, unless they're double team or unless they don't really got it, that's when they'll swing it out. But it's rare that it does happen. And again, these guys are smart too because they noticing that as far as the three guards we just talked about, Dante's the one that's actually been hot, and they'll feed him like Julius has been feeding Dante. Jalen has been feeding Dante. RJ Barrett, when he has the one thing I do like about RJ this season is that when he doesn't find the shot, he'll go ahead and try to find the open man, and usually that is Dante. So again, I can't feel no sympathy because he's just not. Again, you need to get with the minutes that you do have, you need to start finding confidence. Like that just is what it is. And then hopefully, with the minutes that you are getting, again, we can't do anything with the fact that you're not getting warmed up, you're not getting your rhythm. Like you have to do the best you can with the minutes you got. It just is what
Yeah,
it is.
that's a fact.
Yeah.
And
So
the thing with Grimes is what makes it worse, especially let's say because with Knicks fandom is always well, it's not always what it like what the fans say, but the bit of like what it looks like outside of the team is like, well, Grimes was the guy that was untouchable in the Donovan Mitchell trade. He was the guy that was like, nah, but this is our future. This is that. Like, we're not even looking to trade him. It's gonna look pretty bad if they were to bench him. I mean, he's pretty much playing himself out of the lineup in a sense, because even Toronto, he played 21 minutes. Against the Bucks, I think he played 18 minutes. So his poor play, even though he's starting, he's pretty much playing himself out of the rotation or playing himself out of minutes. So, man, that's what that I feel like that's why the conversation is even growing and the spotlight is even getting bigger on him. Is because of the fact that the Knicks didn't trade him for, or at least this was what was stopping them from getting Donovan Mitchell. And I don't think that was the only reason why we didn't get
yeah,
Donovan
no, it
Mitchell.
wasn't, but it
But
sounds
they're gonna say that that's the only reason why.
we know the Knicks are optic driven. They're definitely optic driven. And speaking of that star player that the Knicks lack, I mean, we just hear it constantly, fellas. That noise is getting crazier and crazier. And there was interesting comments here by Kenny Smith of TNT. I want to get your guys' reaction to what he said here. Let's watch the video.
Every game that they play, they always have the second best player. You play Boston, you got the second or third best player. You play Orlando with Banchero. They don't have a player that's better than Banchero. Milwaukee, we know they don't. Philadelphia, they don't. The Indiana Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton is the best player on the floor, if you say that.
Correct.
If you play the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler is the best player on the floor. You play the Cleveland Cavaliers, you have Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
You don't have the best player.
Man, it's just all day we hear this all day. And then the funny thing is the guy that they keep mentioning for us to trade for is Karl Anthony Towns. I don't think Towns is better than any of those players. But fellas, they do have a point there with the Knicks, lacking that star power. And it's the noise is getting bigger and bigger because what is Leon gonna do? What star is he gonna get in the building? And it's a hot topic. So I want to get your thoughts briefly on the Knicks star or lack of star situation. When are the Knicks gonna make a move, Zebo?
I mean, but we, but we've been knowing this. Like we knew this before the season started. Like we need again. This is why we stacked up on all those trade pieces. Like this is why we have been developing. Guys like Quinn Grimes, R.J. Barrett. Like this is why we're staying patient. Like again, these are just analysts. These are guys that honestly, this is probably the first Knicks game. This is probably the first Knicks game they actually saw all season. Like, come on, just keep it 100. Like, they don't like again. They don't read like a lot of the major networks. Like, they don't really talk about the Knicks like that. For some people, again, they call us obnoxious and whatever. But again, though, the people that have been watching the games every single day know that this team again. I mean, I still even with us getting blown out by Milwaukee, we're still. I feel like we competed well with them again. They had the best again. They just had the best shooting game in NBA history. Like, come on, that's what they needed to win this game. And so I feel like we could go toe to toe with these teams. But it's like I said at the beginning, with teams like that, yes, they on most nights, yes, we will have, they will have whoever we do play as far as those elite teams, they will have the best player. So that's why with our team, we just have no room for error. Like we need our two stars to have their best game. But I mean, to me, bro, I'm not really putting too much attention. Again, these are people from the outside that don't really watch the Knicks, that don't know what's going on, and so.
They've been on
But again,
TNT.
these
They've
are
been on
things.
TNT a few times this season, though. Been there a few times. They've been
Nah,
watching.
bro. I
I don't
mean,
know if
but
they
I mean,
watch
but it's
in the
here and
back.
there. I mean, but it's here and there. But again, though, look how they just spoke about Jalen Brunson. Like Like a few of them were going off. Like I know you didn't play the clip, but a few of them were going off on Jalen Brunson, and we all
Yeah,
know,
check.
that's literally been our best. Yeah, we all know that's literally been our best player. And come on, Bankero, like come on, over Julius, like come on now. Like again, these are
I
just people
think
from the outside.
ceiling wise they have a point, but right
If you're
now,
talking about ceiling wise, but if you're talking about right now though,
yeah,
if
I
you
agree
put
with
us
you.
on the floor with the Magic, come on now.
Yeah, I agree
Like
with you. I agree with you.
we still have the two best players out of again, and these are just four teams, and this is what I need. This is what I need people to realize too is that listen, like yes, we don't have Giannis, like we don't have Jokic, we don't have Embiid. Like at the end of the day, these are going to be Hall of Famers. Like literally, Jokic might be one of the might be one of the 10 best players we ever seen in our lives. Like that just is what it is. Giannis too. Like I'm sorry we don't have that player, but we have a good quality. I feel like we have a good quality of players that could take us. You know that we where we can go ahead and fight with those teams toe to toe. I feel that way.
Thanks.
So yeah, like my opinion on this is, to be honest, fellas, like think about this question I'm about to ask. When have the Knicks ever been in this predicament? I mean, the Knicks just are always bad with the Shane Larkins and the Lance Thomases of the world, or the Cole Aldridge, or we had the Carmelo Anthony's and the J.R. Smith and the Shumper and the old heads looking to win a championship. I mean, the last time the Knicks were in this like holding stage, where they at now is I can't even tell you when. It had to be back in the 90s. So as being one of the biggest marketplace in the NBA, right there with the Lakers, like people want to see a star be here in New York. But my opinion on that is like there just hasn't been a star available. I mean, Donovan Mitchell, we proved that that was a good non-trade by beating them in the first round. And Cleveland is struggling right now. It look like they might not even keep Donovan. I mean, you got yourself talking into making some kind of Carl Anthony Towns trade, or DeMar DeRozan's, or we talked about Bogdanovich. I mean, these are not even star players, but like we're just want that shiny toy, and we're like talking ourselves into it. But those are just not even the right moves to make right now. But I get it. I get it. We want to see that star here in New York, and we want to be competing for a championship. But 2 years ago, we didn't even make the playoffs. Some can say 3 years. That was a fluke playoff run in general, that COVID season. So when you think about it in hindsight, this is kind of year two of building. But like I said earlier, my theory is we just haven't been here ever since the 90s. And it could get a little impatient. It could get a little impatient because we're going to beat the Wizards, we're going to beat the Hornets. But when we play Boston and we play Milwaukee, and Jalen Brunson is 0 for 5 from three, or Julius is 3 of 14 from the field. I mean, we're gonna lose, and we can't afford that. You know, Milwaukee, they can afford if Dame is off, because you know Giannis is gonna take over, or Boston, Tatum is off, Brown is gonna. But look, Julius went off, and
You still got
we
spanked.
still got spanked. So it takes a lot. We got to play a perfect game to beat these teams, and that's a little bit frustrating place to be at, for some fans, and I understand that. But Don Juan, how you feeling about this?
So just a little bit, just my take on what Kenny said, and there's a lot of truth in it. But when you mention Donovan Mitchell, when you're making a point about well, the Knicks won't have the best player, I'm thinking they won't ever have the best player to win a game or even a series. And we could all agree and say, I mean, it's some we could even debate it, but I'll say Donovan Mitchell is better than Brunson. I'll say that, right? But who won that game? Who won that series? You won it
Good
in
point.
five. And based on his point yesterday, who won the game today? Wasn't Dame and Giannis the best players on the court today? But Tyrese Halliburton won the game, right? So something
Hmm.
that point that he made, yeah, you could have the best player. It doesn't always mean you have the better team. So sometimes you also need to take that into consideration. I think what the Knicks have right now, they have some good players. They're not top 10, not not top 15, closer to top 20, top 25. But overall, there's a lot more players on those top 50. There's we got Randall and Brunson at least top 30, and that some will say is debatable. But we have a lot of players that are definitely closer to the top players than lower. Where a team like the Bucks, they got Middleton, Giannis, and these are teams that are in the upper echelon. Like I should even be comparing them. So when I'm comparing about like how many good players we got, we're gonna be top four anyways. Like we already know us fans that we watch every game, and we're seeing how they play, and we're seeing how they play against good teams. We see how they play against bad teams. We already know the obvious, which is we're missing a star player, and that's fine for now. That's fine for now. We don't need to mortgage the future, dig ourselves in a hole that we used to do repeatedly. I mean, bro, Isaiah Thomas was, oh man, I didn't want to live that nightmare and talk about that,
Nah,
but
yeah, that's what they looking
it
for
took
though.
years. And Phil Jackson, I mean, we dug ourselves in a hole, and it took years for that to even like get us to where we're at now. And we got something brewing. And I know it's not a championship team, but it doesn't mean this team isn't good. I mean, last year we made a second round appearance, which I know not we didn't have it. We didn't have that prediction at the beginning of the season, mid season. And I mean, some didn't even have it when we made the playoffs and how it played out. I mean, I had Cavs in five. I mean, I had Knicks in five, but even still, that was still a good team that a lot of people still had their doubts, and I completely understand. And all that with Randall with a damn near broken ankle. We beat them. We play against the Heat. Take them to six again with Randall with a pretty much a broken ankle. Like things play in our favor. Randall doesn't get hurt. We would have made it to these two conference finals and played against the Celtics, who we played well in the season. And who knows from there? But I don't want to live. People will say, "Nah, you're living in a fantasy." Delusional Knicks fans. I'm stating facts. At the end of the day, the Knicks they are missing a star, but we have a good team. I'm not gonna listen to Stephen A. Smith who over here, yeah, but the Knicks need to make a trade. Knicks need to make a trade. Who's the star that's available? Tell me. Nobody ain't trading none of these guys. Carl Anthony
Mhm.
Towns, who everybody's saying, yeah, they should get him. They should get him. The T-Wolves ain't trading Carl Anthony Towns. Come
All right.
on. Even if like the people, yeah, he's the guy that fits perfect with the team. The T-Wolves are not trading for him. And if people have so much to say about Julius Randle, yeah, let's trade Julius Randle for Karl Anthony Towns. Why would they trade for Randle if he's such a bad player like so many people claim? Like, come on, make it make sense, fellas. Make it make sense. I don't know. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
just a Nick
don't.
fan. I'm just a Nick fan. I'm getting tired of Stephen A. Smith
I
talking
feel
nonsense.
you. I feel you,
I'm
fellas.
getting
Look,
tired of
I
Kenny
want.
Smith
I
and, and,
want to
and the
ask
gang.
you. I want to ask you a question. Yes or no? No, no, no rebuttal. No, no saying. Would you be interested in these stars? I'm gonna start it off with Trey Young.
Nah,
No. Okay.
No,
Lamelo Ball.
I say yeah.
no, we got
No.
Brunson. I'm good.
Kyle Kuzma.
Nah,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Zach Levine.
no,
no,
No. Jeremiah Grant from Portland.
nah.
No. And Paul
mm,
George on the Clippers. Yeah.
I do Paul George. But
yeah.
but again, a lot of these, I mean, look, Jeremiah Grant isn't a bad player, but it's one of those things that how are we gonna get these guys?
Well, I'm looking here at the bottom of the standings, and you look at these teams who might be making a move. You feel me? So that's why I'm just throwing out
Okay,
names
I
here
see. I
for
see
you.
where you're going with
Yeah,
this.
PG.
Uh,
Yeah, PG sounds enticing depending on what the package is.
but I mean, those are the
Pause.
kind of names that you're gonna get. So like when people like trade for the star, I mean, I think these are like, these names
Realistic.
haven't been in rumored, but you can see trade being like, yo, get me out of here. I'm tired of losing. Or even
Mhm.
Lamelo. I mean, that Lamelo situation could be cooking up. Or Jeremiah Grant, he just signed that contract, and Portland has they don't want to win, and we don't know what could happen with the Clippers here. They just been mid. So listen, it's Don Juan said it. It's like we want that star, we need that star, but you can't be impatient and throw 4 first round picks for Carl Anthony Towns, and it's just like now we're just upper mid. I still don't even think we're better than Boston or Milwaukee. So it's gonna take some time, but we almost there, fellas. We almost there. We all predicted that the Knicks will make a trade at the trade deadline. The trade deadline is 2 months away, so let's just lock in
Yeah,
for the
we
next.
good, bro. Yeah, nah, we good.
Yeah, but let's get
And
out of here, fellas. Another great show. Chopping it up. Don Juan, Triple M, Zebo in the building. You already know. Hit that. like button and hit that subscribe button here on the show, Knicks Wilding. We
We
said it
got a
last
few
time. Once
subs.
we get to 1,000 subs, we're gonna give a nice little giveaways, pretty special. So I'm hoping
We're
by the
almost
next show
there.
we there. I'm hoping by the next show we are there, so we can announce that giveaway here before the holiday season. Don Juan, what you gotta say before we get up out of here?
Hey man, don't let the in-season tournament results, ruin your season prediction or just your hope, man. It's just we played the Bucks as a formidable team. They played a historical game. I mean, I never seen so many threes go in, but hey, it is what it is, man. We still got a whole rest of the season. 80. I mean, we got 62 games left. Like, come on, man. Stay on the bright side. We got a lot of games to go. We got the Celtics up next. It won't be easy, but it was not gonna end tomorrow. It's not gonna end the week next week or the following month. Got mad games to go, man. And put it this way: Julius Randle went for 40 some points. Now we just need Brunson to go off for 40. I mean, that's 80 points, man. Then we just need a few guys to just make a couple buckets, and we beating teams by 30.
Yeah,
Nah, but
for sure.
remain positive, Nick fans. The season ain't over. Lots to play for, man.
Yes, sir. Zebo, what you gotta say?
Man, your boy's not in Vegas, man. I ain't gonna lie, I was itching to go to Vegas. I've been having the gambling itch, but you know what? It is what it is. We here. If you wanna help out Knicks fans while and go through this troubled time, just like and subscribe the video, man. That's
The fact.
all I ask for. All we ask for Christmas right now.
That's
Mm.
all. That's all we want. That's all we want. You already know about Triple M, Don Juan, Zebo. Thank y'all for watching, and just enjoy the rest of your day.